All right, today we're diving into something huge. We're talking about how one single technology is completely rewriting the playbook for building a consumer startup and turning ideas that were once considered impossible into the next inevitable thing. So let's just start with this big question. What if the best, most game-changing startup ideas, the ones everyone said were impossible, were really just waiting for the right piece of tech to finally unlock them? That's exactly what we're going to unpack. And that one technology, well, no surprise here, it's artificial intelligence. But look, AI isn't just another upgrade. It's a total fundamental shift in what's even possible for founders. And to really get how big of a deal this is, we got to first take a look back at the world before AI. Okay, so section one, the old consumer problem. Let's talk about the old playbook. Before AI came along, building a successful consumer app was honestly a brutal fight. You were up against two massive hurdles, creation and distribution. And there's really no better story to show you what that was like than the journey of Anchor. So if you look at Anchor's journey here, you can see it was a painful pivot. They kicked off as this Instagram for audio, right? But they figured out super fast that nobody wanted another listening app. What people loved were Anchor's creation tools, but here's the catch. They wanted their podcasts on the big platforms, Spotify, Apple, and that was the massive hurdle. Getting into those closed ecosystems was a nightmare.
And this quote from co-founder Mike Mignano, wow, it just perfectly illustrates how ridiculously hard this was. To solve distribution, they literally had actual human beings manually creating and submitting podcasts. I mean, can you imagine? It was the ultimate do things that don't scale move. Just a grinding, necessary evil to survive back then.
Okay, so that was then. But now AI has stepped onto the scene and just completely vaporized that first massive barrier, the act of creation itself. Let's dig into how this changes the whole game. And I mean, the difference is just night and day. Think about it. Back then, creating high-quality stuff, music, podcasts, you name it, meant you needed expensive gear, you needed complex software, you needed real skills. Today, tools like Suno for music have totally democratized it. Anyone, and I mean anyone, can create incredibly complex media just by typing a few words.
And this gets us to a really crucial idea: democratized creation. This isn't just a buzzword. It's not just about making things a little easier. It's about making the impossible suddenly possible for millions of people who were completely locked out before. It is a fundamental, ground-level shift in who even gets to be a creator.
And look, if there's one analogy you need to remember from all of this, it's this one right here. Just think about what the camera phone did for photography. It didn't just make cameras better, right? It changed everything about how we capture and share our lives. That's the level of impact we're talking about. AI is doing that right now for music, for video, for everything. All right, so creation is solved. That's huge. But what happens when everyone can create anything? It makes that second problem, distribution, even more critical. In a world that's absolutely flooded with content, how in the world do you get anyone to notice you? This is all about cracking modern distribution. Yeah, with the creation barrier totally gone, the new bottleneck is just attention, getting eyeballs. And for a while there, especially in the West, it felt like the art of consumer growth was kind of a lost art. But now, a brand new playbook has emerged, and you have to understand this isn't optional anymore. This is absolute table stakes if you want to build a consumer startup today. And here it is, the modern distribution playbook. This is not about crossing your fingers and hoping for word of mouth. Nope. It's a very deliberate four-step process. First, you leverage creators. You partner with influencers on places like TikTok and YouTube. Then, you tap into the algorithms. You let the platform's recommendation engine do the heavy lifting. That drives massive scale, getting millions of eyeballs on your stuff super fast. But then, and this is the hardest part by far, you have to nail retention. You gotta have a product that's so good, all that initial hype turns into long-term users. And I absolutely love this distinction from Mike Mignano. He says it's not organic, it's non-paid. What he means is this isn't your classic word-of-mouth growth where a friend tells a friend. This is non-paid, meaning you're not buying ads, but you are very strategically using creators and the platform itself to get the algorithm to work for you. It's a system, and it's a system you can absolutely learn and master. And the results? I mean, they're just crazy. The scale you can hit with a successful creator-led campaign today absolutely dwarfs what was possible with old-school growth tactics just 5 years ago. We are talking about orders of magnitude more users and way, way faster. Seriously, if your growth chart doesn't have that kind of vertical spike, you're probably already falling behind. Okay, so let's put it all together. Creation is democratized. We've got a new playbook for distribution. So, where are the big opportunities? Where should founders be looking right now? And the answer is kind of fascinating. You should be looking in the graveyards of old dead ideas. Just take a look at this list. Mail apps, web browsers, social networks. For years, if you went to an investor with an idea in one of these categories, you'd get laughed out of the room. They were considered done. I mean, why on earth would you try to compete with a giant like Chrome or Gmail? Well, the answer is AI. AI changes the entire equation. It creates brand new wedges, new opportunities to go after even the biggest, most entrenched players out there.
And this is where it gets really exciting. The next frontier, the huge untapped opportunity, is layering AI on top of all the personal data we've been collecting for years. All this data that's just been sitting there, dormant. We can now use it to create entirely new, deeply personal services we've never seen before.
And think about where this data actually lives. It's your data. It's your health records from Apple Health. It's your entire camera roll filled with photos and hidden location data. It's your personal texts, your calendar. These are absolute treasure troves of personal context. And they're just sitting there, waiting for AI to unlock their value in ways we can barely even imagine right now. And this is where all that personal data becomes insanely powerful. This timeline here shows the evolution of media, and it points directly to the future. We started in phase 1, the social graph. Think Facebook, where you saw content from people you followed. Then came phase 2, recommendation media. That's TikTok, where algorithms show you content you'll probably like. But the next phase, phase 3, which tools like Sora are kicking off, is generative media. This is where the feed doesn't just find content for you, it creates it for you, dynamically, personalized just for you, using all that personal data we just talked about. So what's the bottom line for founders? It's simple. The game has changed. With AI making the building part so much easier, the things that make you stand out aren't just technical anymore. It's about taste, it's about craft, and it's about incredible, relentless speed. In this new hyper-competitive world, you just can't afford to be slow. And that brings us right back to where we started. The barriers to entry lower than ever. The tools more powerful than we could have dreamed. And entire categories of impossible ideas are suddenly wide open again. So the only question left for you is, what impossible idea are you going to build?